course, we have the Black Lives Matter movement going on. We have, you know, now, in professional wrestling, the hashtag Speak Out with a lot of ladies coming out and telling their stories. And I thought it was really, really important for us to talk about this because I have a wrestling school and I produce a lot of young girls that's trying to get into this business. And I always talk to them about situations like this. Normally, my girls that's been around me long enough and they get a chance to, perhaps make it to the next level, I always try to have that talk with them. It's almost like, having, a talk with my son, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, exactly, the speech. But to give these young ladies the speech and now to hear about all of the turmoil that they have been having to go through just trying to be a part of this business, the professional wrestling. I never really thought or wondered how deep it was until now when you hear it. Yeah, of course, you might say, yeah, of course something's going on. Oh, yeah, boys are going to be boys. You know what I mean? But in a situation like this, when you hear it, it makes you feel a certain way. Um, for me, I remember talking to one of my students, and I say, you got to understand, when you go up there, man, you got to you're a good looking girl, and one of those guys, they're gonna want to get with you. And I say that's not what you really want to be focusing at right now because boom, it can happen just like that. I say if you go there and the promoter, the booker, you know, if they're not treating you the way I treat you, you need to go and talk to someone or tell somebody something. I say because you know how you get treated around me. It's a hug, when you leave, come in, a hug when you leave, and boom, that's it. You know what I mean? But it ain't gonna be no shenanigans as far as me as your mentor goes, me as your trainer, your sensei, the person that you look up to. And to hear some of the stories, just like from a Jordan Grace, she's come through reality of wrestling, High Yun, Roxy, who one of our finest. To hear some of their stories with some of these scum buckets out there, it really disturbs me. And hopefully, by them coming out, will rid the bulk of the scum that a lot of them that they've been talking about. Like I say, I stand behind all the ladies that's coming out and speaking out. I got a young girl, she came to me when she was, like a little bitty kid, she's like 15 years old or something like that. Her name's Angela, we call her AQA, and now she's finally moving up and she's getting a chance to get out there and go around the country. And she's still a little girl, as far as I'm concerned. She's like my daughter. And I can only imagine, one of these scums, hitting on her when I know what her true heart, bleeds. And that's going out there and performing and being part of the business. But then you have some 40-year-old trying to manipulate, some young kid. And the thing is, sometimes, when you're that young, you, t- you might keep your mouth shut. You might feel embarrassed because of someone else did something wrong. You might feel that way, and I just, I just appreciate and hope. I've been seeing it, from a lot of the locker room leaders, guys saying, "Hey, we're with you." It's a lot of Roman Reigns in those locker rooms. Guys who got some integrity. That's guys that's got some morals about themselves. Guys that's going to oversee. The rest of the guys when they can't oversee themselves. You know what I mean? So hopefully, um, every guy, every man, like you say, not the boys. You know what I mean? The boys can stay on their PlayStations, playing their video games, but hopefully some of the men in that locker room that know. You know what I mean? Because one thing about the boys, they know. It's a story that came out by I think it was Missy Hyde and one of the older ladies, and they were talking about how women back in the day used to get H bombed. and it was called it was a pill. It was called Halcyon. Well, they used to slip it to the women, and next thing you know, they go to sleep, and men have their way with. And I've heard those stories. I've heard those stories. But now in 2020, those stories are going to come to light, and people are going to be exposed, and hopefully they will lose their job, and more than anything, their integrity, their name, their fame, everything that goes along with it.